Avoid the red flags, Audrey Jones. Audrey Jones, avoid the red flags.
Thank you, Randy. How many of you have ever been in a relationship just a little bit too long? And you realize, looking back, that there were a lot of red flags that you avoided. You were like, man, I should have gotten out on that first one, that first red flag. I should have gotten out of that relationship. Well, fellow Toastmasters and guests, my name is Audrey Jones, and I am here today to share with you a personal story about a guy that I dated in LA, a relationship that I decided to focus on so much, make it work, that I decided just to avoid all of the red flags. So, first red flag. He wasn't cute. We first met in college, and I remember him being this scrawny little short guy with a big afro, and he was always the last guy in the computer lab staying until midnight, and that was honestly the extent of our relationship. We would say hi to each other now and then, like, how are you? But basically that was the extent of our relationship. So let's say after college, after graduating college, about 5 years went by, and we were friends on Facebook, and I started to notice that he moved to LA. And he was aspiring the dream, living the dream as a surfer. Something I had always aspired to be like. So I'm like, man, this guy is looking a little cuter. Man, like, how is this gonna work? Like, I live in Cleveland, he lives in LA, how is this gonna work? Like, I feel like this is the guy I'm supposed to marry. Like, how is this gonna work? And next thing I know, I get a message from him on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like what everyone talks about when the universe attracts the things that you want to you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're like connecting right now. Like, he's messaging me on Facebook, so we're talking back and forth, and we're talking back and forth, and it turns out that he's originally from Cleveland, and he's planning on coming back and visiting his family and wants to take me out on a date. Which leads me to my second red flag. It was the worst day ever. It was horrible. He talked about himself for 3 hours, and he just talked about himself the whole entire time, and I just was like, this can't be true. Like, this is the guy I'm supposed to marry. Like, no. Like hopefully this date can like turn around. And then we had our first kiss, and it was like, wow, that was a pretty good kiss. I think I'm gonna give him a second chance. I think I'm gonna give him this date is starting to get better. So he eventually, had to go back to LA, and we decided not to do the long distance thing. We would just be together when we were together, and try and make it work. And since he had just come out to Cleveland, I decided that, okay, it's my turn to go to LA. Well, I already bought my ticket, and so basically that leads me to my third red flag. He was too busy to respond to my calls and texts. That should have been the sign right there that no one's ever too busy. If they really like you, they're never too busy to respond to your calls and texts. But so I gave him a chance to get out of it. Like, hey, are you sure you want me to come to LA? You're acting kind of suspicious. Like, you don't want me to come out there anymore. And he's like, no, it's fine. It's all good. Like, come out. So I decided, I would always regret it if I didn't do it. So I decided to take the leap of faith and go out to LA. And we get there, and we had a great first day. We're walking on the beach, and all of a sudden, torrential downpour. The rain is just coming down, and we start running to our car, and all of a sudden this scene from Dirty Dancing pops into my head. A romantic scene of them passionately kissing outside the car. So next thing I know, we get in the car, and the rain's coming down, and I lean in, and he pushes me back. I'm seeing someone else. There's another girl in LA. I was like, what? I'm sorry, what? I repeated myself 3 times. And he was like, I'm really sorry, like, I wanted to tell you over the phone, but I just would rather tell you in person. And I'm like, well, yeah, but I would have rather just found out over the phone instead of wasting my time, money, and energy to come all this way to LA for you to find out that there's another girl. Well, at that point, I made him take me home to my cousin. My cousin lived in LA, to my cousin's house, and dropped me off. It's about a 45-minute drive along town. It was like the longest drive in my life. I just couldn't wait to get out of that door and slam it in his face. And, and I was supposed to never talk to him again after that. And I held on for like about 3 months, and then held on for about 3 months, and then all of a sudden I came home one day from work and I found a dozen roses in the mail and a 12-page handwritten letter, front and back, confessing how he made a mistake, that he regretted letting me go, and that he wanted me back. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like literally shaking because I don't know what to do. And I'm like, come on, girls. Are you with me? Like, how many of you have always wished for that guy that made that huge mistake to come back, running into your life, confessing that they want you back? I mean, it's kind of, you always want it to happen. And then when it happens, you like don't know what to do. So, of course, I gave him another chance. So sorry, in the letter he had said that he quit his job in LA, he's moving to Cleveland, he got a job for the Cavs. He wants to give it a second chance. So he moves back to Cleveland, and he tells me after he moves back to Cleveland, which leads me to my final red flag. There was no other girl in LA. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Wait, what? There was no other girl in LA? Like, who lies about cheating? Who lies about there being another girl in LA? And I'm like, this can't be. Like, what could it be? And he tells me, hemorrhoids. I had hemorrhoids. I was too embarrassed to tell you that I had hemorrhoids. Well, obviously, it didn't work out. It didn't work out for much longer than that. But the moral of the story is, don't avoid the red flags. If he isn't cute, then find someone cuter. If the first date is horrible, then go home by yourself, okay? Call it quits. And if he is too busy to answer your calls and texts, it's either one or two things. He's either seeing someone else, or he was too scared to tell you that he has hemorrhoids.